Chess.com is with Indian superstar and five-time world champion Vishy Anand sir at his home in Chennai. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So the candidates is coming up in a few days. What are your thoughts on like all the candidates going in?
Obviously, these are the best players, chess players on the planet, with the exception of Magnus. And what makes it especially interesting is that this is the first candidates after the pandemic, and we also have people who are coming off very long breaks. Ding and Hikaru have played relatively little over-the-board chess for a long time. And then we have a lot of newcomers. Rapport, Firouzja, Duda, all in their first candidates, plus experienced players like Caruana who played the last several candidates. So there's, I think, a very exciting field with a lot of question marks hanging over everyone, and that makes it particularly intriguing in the beginning. I think in the first few rounds, you really want to see who's in the best shape, because I can't predict it at all.
So do you have like any favorites, or who do you think will be like taking an early lead?
I don't, because they've all had such strange tournament trajectories for the last few months that there are just a lot of unknowns. But at the same time, it has to be emphasized, all of them managed at least one recent good result. Mm-hmm. So let's say Hikaru and Richard qualified in style recently. Yep. Duda won in Warsaw. Firouzja had a great result in Riga, and after that he's played relatively little. So again, like I said, we lack information, but almost all of them showed that they still got strength even though they haven't played very much, and I will be looking to the first rounds to get some information.
And you yourself played some of these candidates recently in your trips to Europe at the Grand Chess 2 Superbet event, also in Norway Chess. So who do you think is like in shape, or who's maybe like Radiavo hasn't won a classical game for 29 games? So what are your thoughts on that?
I think Timur also hasn't played in a while, and so I think he tried to warm up in Norway. Mm-hmm. What can I say? Very bad result, but maybe the bright side for him is typically if you go to the candidates after a very bad result, you might switch there, or maybe he's made his mistakes already. Rapport, I think, is probably sensible on his part to skip Norway Chess and take some rest, because he's at quite a heavy schedule, and I'm intrigued about the others. I'm sure Hikaru, given that he's taking part, he's going to take it very seriously. And I heard that he did a lot of training in Colorado, I think. So someone like him, Fabi, keeps his level. I'm sure he would have wanted better results, but he keeps his level. Firouzja, again, there's been photos and everything of this training location, that training location, but it's just so many questions that I have, and so many unknown things. So the first few games, I'm really looking forward to. Also, it should be said that Ding has had the strangest qualification of all. Yeah. And he couldn't play in many events, and then he played 26 games in a month, and then he qualified. But we know his class, and we'll see what everyone's capable of. I'm sure there'll be a lot of surprises in the first few rounds.
And you mentioned Hikaru there. So what are your thoughts on him, like being almost a full-time streamer, and also making it to the candidates?
I've noticed that especially during the online events, and he plays so regularly on chess.com, that it's not fair to say that he's inactive. But still, the feeling of playing over the board is something he must have missed, at least in terms of doing it regularly. But on the other hand, his qualification was so impressive that it shows that he can peak. The important thing, I think, is that he's not out of touch, even though the format changes.
Right, and you yourself won the 2014 the candidates, which is like in the recent era. So any piece of advice you would like to give to the other candidates?
I think they all know what to do. It's just a question of whether you can do it at the right time. The candidates, again, is this critical moment when you not only have to deliver, you have to deliver now. I mean, there's no use peaking 1 week later or 1 week before. You kind of have to do it now, and but they all know that.
And if you could just like describe the candidates tournament in one word, what would that be?
Exciting. We have a rich selection of very talented and strong players, and they'll be competing very hard. And this mixture of new candidates with the more experienced ones, I think, makes for an intriguing contrast.
Right. And lastly, which Indian junior do you think would be making the candidates first?
I hope multiple ones will qualify. We'll see. The last few months, or maybe the last year, Arjun, Gukesh, and Prag are really doing well in different ways, in different formats, different tournaments, but nonetheless, you can see that they are really growing in strength. Nihal could easily catch up as well. Rana can lay on a little bit behind, but they're all in the race, and they have time. They have another 2 years before the next candidate, so we'll see.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And Vishy sir will be commentating on the candidates on the chess.com India channel. So we look forward to that, sir. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.